fact, Saudi Arabia is the home of the world's largest desert, Rub al Khali, with an expanse of 650,000 square kilometers. This, in fact, was the size of a whole country. Again, do you know that this country, the 14th largest country in the world, with a total landscape of 2.14 square kilometers, does not have a single permanent river? If you think you've heard it all, relax, because we're just getting started. We said earlier that Saudi Arabia is one country with very little rainfall. Now let's be specific. Historically, the country has never seen an annual rainfall of more than 150 millimeters. This needs to be a better ratio. Because of this, a large part of Saudi Arabia has been majorly dry, leaving just a small part of the southwest region for planting. Even up until the late 1960s, the country was recorded to still have as low as 400 square kilometers of fertile land. This is 0.5% of the entire country. At this point, you may wonder how the citizens had survived in terms of agricultural products. Well, the answer is plausible. Before the country started experiencing a breakthrough in the increase of farmlands, the citizens survived mainly by planting small fields with local crops. In contrast, all other necessary food items that could not be planted were imported. At that time, narrow strips of coastal lines were the only planting area, and only a few crops, like dates and vegetables, were grown. With a country that big, this limitation was no good news. Now let's talk about the miraculous oil dam, a crucial element in the shocking increasing farmlands in Saudi Arabia. Though the country lacked water, it definitely needed more. In fact, Saudi Arabia turns out to be a country with the world's largest oil reserve. Well, as they say, God deposits something in everyone that makes them special. This proved true for Saudi Arabia, when somewhere in March 1934, a large amount of crude oil was discovered in a dam oil field. The dam went so deep that it reached a depth of 1,440 meters. Thus, the country soon became a holder of about 17% of the world's identified petroleum reserves. This reserve was estimated to be around 75 million barrels of oil. So with the wealth in oil resources, the Saudi Arabian government thought it could do more, and thus, the process of the miracle of rapidly increasing farmlands began. Fast forwarding to the present, Saudi Arabia can now be added to the modern 7 wonders of the world. This is because what used to be a center of importation of food items is now a center of exportation of wheat, date, dairy products, eggs, fish, poultry, birds, fruits, vegetables, and even flowers. But how did the fortune of a country that was nearly all desert change from a food importer to a food exporter? What are the Saudi Arabians doing that we don't know? Though it appears to be so, the fact that the desert lands of Saudi Arabia are rapidly turning to fertile farmlands is no magic at all. While some contributing factors were pure luck, a larger percentage of the causes of this shocking phenomenon resulted from a combination of deliberate plans and actions carried out by the Saudi Arabian government. But what exactly did they do? Well, hang on as I take you through the strategic processes alongside the lucky occurrences that turned a desert into fertile land. First, they invested massively in technology. This is because technological equipment was needed to provide everything that would transform desert land into fertile farmlands. So the agricultural state of Saudi Arabia has been transformed through massive investment in programs that promote modern farming technology and rural infrastructural elements. Being a country immensely enriched with oil, the government of Saudi Arabia didn't sit back and relax. Instead, they channeled the nation's resources into developing fertile grounds for the people. Early in their investment venture, the government had focused intensively on establishing facilities for producing dairy, meats, and poultry food. By 1985, the nation had started swimming in self-sufficiency with products like meat, milk, and eggs. Not only were they self-sufficient, but they became massive exporters of agricultural products as well. Also, during this period, there was a massive output of milk production, which amounted to about 1,800 gallons per cow annually. Fish farms were also on the rise. These farms were established in locations that were both on land and at sea. The establishment of these fish farms led to the production of seafood. Amongst this seafood, the shrimps were highly enriching for the country. Consequently, Saudi Arabia became a massive shrimp exporter to countries like Japan and the USA. Sales of the black tiger breed of shrimps were particularly successful. Also, because of the efforts put in by the governments of Saudi Arabia, the nation soon moved quickly from being an importer of wheat to an exporter of the same. Wheat silos built in 1970